Good morning, Chris and Joshua. Things are popping up again. Good morning, Allison. Good morning, Alina. Good morning. Good morning, Caroline and Rowan. This is Sam. Sam, say hi.
Hi.
Sam just turned down the pink for you.
Thank you, buddy.
Good morning, Rylan. Good morning, Matty. Good morning, London. Good morning, Maverick. Matthew?
It's 11 o'clock.
Good morning, Pappy. Good morning, Blake. Oh, people are saying hi to you, Sammy.
Oh, God.
No.
Sam.
Good.
My gosh. I really need it.
Good morning, Sonia and Nicholas. Good morning, Manny. Good morning, Adriana. Good morning, Sophia. Good morning, Ella. Good morning, Alexis. Good morning, Helena. Good morning, Lucy and Molly. Good morning, Dax.
Sam.
Good morning, Marin and Reagan. Good morning, Juliet and Madison. We have just a couple more minutes. Today we are finishing up, so you should have 3 more spots in your pet shop if you set it up exactly like I did. You may have more, you may have less, but I finished it all out. We are doing 2 small, well, let's see, 1 crustacean, 1 small rodent, and 1 squirrel-sized rodent. So we'll just see. Okay. Oh, I think you got it. Yes, the first one is a hermit crab. 1 second. Okay. Turn off my music. So our first animal was requested. It's a hermit crab, and how I'm sure a lot of you have had hermit crabs as pets. We had, I think I may have mentioned it one time, that we had a hermit crab that we bought in North Carolina at the beach. I think it was like our last day at the beach. And then we drove home from the Outer Banks. By the time we got home, he was no longer living. So, and then we in Ocean City, we got 2 more a few years ago, and they lived for a while. But the big thing about the hermit crab is that it needs to have those sponges that you keep hydrated at all times. And if you neglect to put water on that, the hermit crab can't drink from it, and then he dies. That's what happened to us. We kind of got lazy and would forget for days to keep sponge hydrated, and then we lost them. So a hermit crab is a crustacean, like I said, but it has a mollusk shell. So it has the shell, so it's different than like a regular crab that grows the exoskeleton shell. The hermit crab on the inside is soft, and it's a spiral shape, which they keep tucked inside the shell. And most hermit crabs are nocturnal. And there's two types of hermit crabs. There's marine hermit crabs, and they live underwater. And land hermit crabs, who live on land, and mostly in tropical areas. And as they grow, they need to move into bigger shells. So if you ever purchased a hermit crab, they ask you to purchase a couple more shells that are bigger sizes and keep them in the cage with them, so that when they've outgrown their shell that they come in, they can move to a bigger shell. And in captivity, so as a pet, they can live for more than 20 years if you take really good care of them. Like I was saying, make sure they have shells to grow into, plenty of fresh food, and keeping that sponge hydrated so they can drink from it. And in the wild, they eat fruit and wood and leaves and plants and grasses and pretty much anything that may wash up on the beach. And of course, in captivity, they sell hermit crab food that you just fill. I think we had ours in a shell. I think they recommended putting the food in a like a clam shell or an oyster shell, so they could eat from that. And of course, the sponge. So when I drew my hermit crab in my final pet shop over here, I did include one of those little sponges right next to him, because I know that is so important. Okay. Hank, come here. Hank has been following me around literally all morning. I call him Shadow because anytime I walk anywhere, he's with me. Now, of course, when I ask him to come here, he wants nothing to do with me. Maybe he's camera shy. Maybe he doesn't like to be in the spotlight. All right, so let's draw this hermit crab. We're going to start by drawing a circle. And then with a little sort of curved line right here.
No, I said shadow. Yeah, there's a shadow. He is like.
Did you get it?
No.
All right, and then we're going to add the eyes. The eyes are going to come off here. You can go ahead and add the little pupil too. Of course, you want to erase that line. I'm not even going to put an X through it. Looks a little strange right now. And then we're going to, from this line, we're going to start to make the mouth. And it curves down around like this. So of course you want to erase all of these lines in here.
Rox is upstairs.
And then we're going to add the shell in the back, and the shell sort of is layers. It almost looks like, for any people that have had me for 4th grade, it almost looks like a cake that has fallen over on its side. So we're going to add a shell that goes back, and you can add as many layers to the shell as you want. Okay, now we're going to add his front claws, and they're going to come around behind the mouth on this side, and then the front of the mouth on this side. And of course, places where it crosses over, you need to erase those lines. You're not going to erase the mouth line because the shell or the claw goes behind the mouth. But this claw is in front. So you definitely want to erase any lines. Then we're going to add his little legs that are going to just be sort of little spikes that come down. and then a couple more that you see underneath here. Mine gets a little confusing because since I can't erase the lines, you can sort of see beyond that. And if you want to make a little dark area for the mouth, you can sort of darken in this spot right here and add some designs and maybe some designs on the shell. Then we have our hermit crab. Hi, Lila. Good morning, Nathan. All right. So next, let me see. Somebody yesterday, sorry, I'm looking back, suggested Alexis suggested, I know there's several Alexises on here, but Alexis suggested that we do this next animal. And it actually can be food for maybe some of the animals in our pet shop, but a lot of times this animal is bought as a pet. So it is a small rodent, a pointed snout, and a body-length tail. Anybody have any guesses? It is a mouse. And I had a friend growing up who had 2 mice as pets, and they're little white mice. Yes, mouse, good job. I thought that was a little odd to have mice as pets, but really cute. So it is a very popular pet because it's small and easy to take care of. And it's called the kind of mouse. There's lots of different mice, like there's field mice and wild mice and house mouses, but the one that is generally for a pet, they just call the domestic mouse. And domestic mouse has many predators, as do all mice, but cats, dogs, foxes, birds will all eat mice. So if you do have a mouse pet, it's very important that you keep them in their cage at all times. And because mice can flatten themselves and get in and out of small spaces, you have to make sure they can't leave. So it can't be like a cage like you might keep a hamster in, because they might be able to get through something like that. So they need special cages that are just for mice. They are generally nocturnal. And as pets, they are very playful, loving, and they actually get used to being handheld. So you can play with them in your hands and stuff like that. I already said they live in a cage, and they eat pelleted seed-based food, and they like a bedding of hardwood, so like a sawdust. They like to sit in that. All right, so let's go ahead and draw this mouse. And the mouse I decided to draw after looking at several ideas, coming up with stuff. It's very cute and cartoony looking, but I feel like that's what we've kind of had. So I feel like it fits. Plus we needed them to be small, or at least I did, to fit in my pet shop. So we're going to start with sort of a leaf shape, maybe. Or maybe you could call it half a heart. This is actually going to be his face, because I think you remember, if you heard me, they have a pointed snout, so they come, their face comes to a point. Then we're going to add the body to it. And the body is just going to be sort of a shape like this. So we're gonna add the ears. Somebody said, I just briefly, that somebody said, what's the difference between a mouse and a rat? And I think I saw a little bit of information on that they're very closely related, and generally it's about the size, because rats get much bigger. Oh, somebody just said that. Rats are much bigger, but they are very closely related. And then we're going to add some eyes, and you can make your eyes go outside, break the plane, so to speak. And if you do, you just need to erase the lines. And then let's add a little interior and give it a nose at the very end, some whiskers. And then we're gonna add hind leg back here. It goes around like that. Then we're gonna give it 2 little front feet. And again, erase the lines you need to. And then remember from what I said about the mouse, it has a body length tail. So it needs a really long tail that comes off the back. And you can make it go on the ground. I made mine in the air. And there you go. And there's your little mouse. And again, like I've always said every week, you can color him however you want. When I made mine, I stuck with just grays and pinks. And some mice are white, so you could just keep it white and add a little bit of detail. Or you can make it blue or purple or orange, whatever you'd like to do. Black, like Mickey Mouse. However you'd like to do that. Just hold it here for 1 more minute or so. Okay. All right, 1 more for today, and then I'll show you my final and how I kind of finished it out. All right, so this last one, I was really, there are a lot of suggestions, and we did most of the suggestions, and some of the suggestions will be for weeks to come. So I went to Petco's website just to check out what they have. Basically, they don't sell their animals online, but they do sell food for all their animals. So I was checking that out, and I came across this one, and I thought it was really cute. So we are going to do this rodent, which is the size of a squirrel, and actually its tail can have a look of a squirrel's tail. And it is called a chinchilla. And chinchillas live in colonies called herds, and they are found in the high elevations of the Andes Mountains in South America. And they're kind of rare. They're not as prevalent as they once were because they have very dense, so thick, soft fur, which they were once hunted for their fur because of their the texture, the density, and the warmth and the softness. And people hunt chinchillas and then use their fur to make wraps and things like that to stay warm. But I don't believe that's done anymore. It made the research made it look like that doesn't happen, especially because they're hard to find in the wild now. But as a pet, the domestic chinchilla is one of the long-tailed chinchilla varieties, and has long tail and long ears, or big ears. And then they require, I thought this was interesting, require extensive dental care because their teeth are always growing. So if you don't take care of their teeth, they could get infections and get very sick. So they require dental care and a lot of exercise because they don't have the ability to sweat. So they need to be kept in a temperature-controlled environment, and then you need to make sure there's enough movement, and then, of course, take care of those teeth. And then they eat grasses and leaves and twigs. They're pretty cute. All right, so let me put some paper here. Draw the chinchilla. Does anybody have a chinchilla or know of somebody who does? I had a friend, I don't know if I think I did talk about my background the first week and I sort of stopped, but I used to work at the zoo back when it was called the Baltimore Zoo. And a friend of mine who worked there, she had lots of pets, but one of the pets she had was a chinchilla. So we're going to start by making sort of a soft rectangle shape, sort of like between a rectangle and an oval. Sort of like a potato, I guess. And then I talked about their ears. So you want to make those ears pretty big. And they sort of come off the corner of their head. This one should have come down a little more. But when you're using pencil, you can fix that. And we're going to make a little, I'm going to fix it. It's going to bother me. A little line at the top here. And we're going to give them and then some eyes, and his eyes are sort of wide set. And let's go ahead and give him his nose area. Then a little bit of whiskers. There's little hands and feet. I don't know if these are really proportional to how a real chinchilla is, but and of course the long fluffy tail. And just like when we've done other things, you can add the texture to show their soft, fluffy fur with your pencil. Your colored pencils, if that's what you're using. Or if you're using pen and then filling in with marker, you can add some texture with your pen. I'm gonna just hold it here for one more minute, then I'll get my final and explain some of my decisions that I made. Okay, so here's my final pet shop, all colored in. Here's my I did all today's animals on the bottom because that's where I had space. So my chinchilla, you can see I kind of made him textured with my pencils with some grays and my pink, and then my little mouse next to him, and then all the way over here is my hermit crab, and that's a little sponge. Doesn't look like a
I didn't get
kitchen
that.
sponge or SpongeBob, but it's like sort of like a little tan blob. And then of course my hermit crab. And then yesterday I forgot to color in my hedgehog, so there he is. Okay, so what I did when I was coloring, I thought about making all different color backgrounds, but I really didn't want to take away from the animals themselves. So I did every other color background light. So I did light yellow and a light peach color in every other one, just so it wasn't plain white. It's sort of hard to see, but when I put it up close, you can see it's very light. And I gave everybody a ground, whether it was bedding or grass. I gave some of them food. I kept them pretty simple. Sorry, I'm not good at this part. I kept everything really simple, so I didn't want to take away from the animals. And then I made 2 buildings on either side, because I was sort of picturing it like it was a strip mall. I gave some of them food. I kept them. That's you. My husband's watching the video. But I decided this side over here with the red brick is a pizza shop. And this side over here with the stone is a creamery, ice cream shop. So just that's how I'm just picturing my pet shop in its area. All the cute little pets. So I'll hold it up here. All right, and then next week, I'm not 100% sure when my meetings are, but likely they'll be in the morning. I know at least one day I have a 9 to 10:30 meeting. So let's go ahead and say we're going to do 11 o'clock all next week, unless if there's some sort of change, I will post it on my Facebook page ahead of time so you know. So we're going to go ahead and say 11 o'clock, and we're going to be doing Jurassic Park next week. Now, I know some of you are very, you have a lot of knowledge when it comes to dinosaurs. So please either write on, you can message me or write on my wall, or you can comment here. It's sort of hard for me to see all the comments here because there's so many. But if you have some ideas for dinosaurs or other animals that you know that lived during that time, or that would make sense to put in there, like, I don't know, would an alligator make sense? I'm not sure. Just so we're not doing all dinosaurs, I'd like to mix it up a little bit. All right. So next week, Jurassic Park, dinosaur heavy with a lot of other animals included, 11 o'clock. Okay. Have an amazing weekend. Oh, we didn't get Hank. Could one of my children bring me Hank? They'll bring Hank to me. Sorry, Hank. I totally forgot. Now I'm getting all the calls for Hank. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. Have a great Easter and Passover if you celebrate either one, or if you're just enjoying your spring break.
Oh, God.
Here he is. The monster Hank, my shadow, but wants nothing to do with me when I'm here. He smells food. Where is that food coming from? Starving! Starving! So have a great weekend. I know it's chilly today. Try not to get blown away out there, but it should be beautiful this weekend. Get out, enjoy the sunshine with your family. Enjoy celebrating, but also staying at home. Here comes Ziggy to say bye.
Hello.
So have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week at 11. Bye.
Zig.
I did.
Okay. All right.